Radhika Lobo, a luminary in economics. She currently leads a program chair for BA Honours at Vidyashilp University with interim roles in legal studies and governance and as director of IQAC. Her influence is profound. Her esteemed career spans Christ, deemed to be university, and exchange faculty positions at the University of West Georgia and Clayton Business School, USA. Holding MPhil and PhD degrees in economics, her expertise shapes academic excellence. She is here to deliver a keynote address on the topic Pedagogy in Liberal Arts University. Learn new things, adopt new ways. Let us welcome her with a huge round of applause.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Ravi, for inviting me here. I must also mention that I appreciate the order in which you have lined up the speakers, because initially I was a little peeved, why me so late in the afternoon? But I realized that unless everybody really understands what is liberal arts, and then I can bring in what is the kind of pedagogy in liberal arts. So thank you so much for that. So I have been teaching for the last 35 odd years. Yes, I'm as old as the hills. But, both UG as well as postgraduate students. But every time I enter a new cohort, I think I learn new things, I unlearn certain things, which is what I heard one of the delegates speak about. I also adopt new ways as well as adapt these to the new set of students. So on that note, let me start whatever I have planned to present to all of you. So what is it that I plan to present? I have compiled the pedagogy that some of my colleagues and I have been adopting for the last 2 years at our university. Our university is a very new university, which is barely 3 years old, but we've taken students only for the last 2 years. So this is a compilation of that. So when I was preparing for this session, I came across two very interesting research papers, one by Jonathan Becker and one by Benjamin Andres. I could share these papers with either Sumanto or Ravi, and maybe some of you all could even go through it, because there were certain kind of questions about whether liberal arts education is elitist. And one of the things that this paper talks about is how it is not elitist. So because it's not part of my talk today, I will leave it in that paper itself. The paper also talks about how it came into the Eastern European countries after communism collapsed. Forgive me, I'm an economics teacher, so therefore there will be references and examples coming from there. So once this collapsed, liberal education was seen like an antidote to maybe the Marxist-Leninist kind of ideology, or the rigid disciplinary aspects that were there in the earlier education system. So overall, it was probably seen as a process of democratization. And gradually from Eastern Europe, it has now permeated into countries like ours also. So a very, very important point made in this paper, in fact, both these papers, I would say, surprisingly, they were so similar, is that it's not possible to have a good liberal arts education system without a good nexus between, say, the administration, the pedagogy, as well as, the curriculum. So I promise you that except for this slide where there is a lot of text, there isn't any text in any other. And I'll just skip this one, because this is just a definition of liberal arts, which is what I'm going to summarize at the end. We have two baskets. The previous speaker as well as the earlier speakers explained to you that in a liberal arts education system, you have certain foundation courses which everybody does. So across our schools, so I head the School of Liberal Arts and Design Studies at Vidyashilp, but even other schools, the students study some of these courses. And what I'm going to be speaking about is the pedagogy in some of these courses titled as either university core courses or program foundation courses. Basically, they are just the foundation level courses. So this is one such course which is called as Introduction to Gender Studies. So you can see here that this is our student Tanushri. What she has done is she did a lectem, which is a lecture demonstration. 35 years of teaching, vocal cords are really gone. So she did a lecture demonstration where she brought out, the gender aspects within Bharatanatyam. So she is a Bharatanatyam exponent, and so she looked at these padams, and apparently padams use what is called as abhinaya, whereas there are other forms like Pushpanjali and Allaripu, which use nritta and nritya, which can be gender neutral, whereas apparently padams and abhinaya can't really be gender neutral. So they're gender specific, and therefore she was mentioning that in certain schools like say Rukmini Arundale School, they don't even teach this. So it's just because they want to be as gender neutral as possible. So you can see here that the faculty has tried to be liberal in her teaching as well as assessment methods, not restricting the student to learn or respond in any structured manner. The next course is a course that I have been teaching, which is macroeconomics. I don't know if that delegate who asked about wanting to learn economics is still here. And yes, so I would say that, no, there was another girl, yes, you could be doing behavioral economics. Okay, so that's something which would go with your career trajectory. So what I noticed was the students went through an entire BA program and were not able to summarize what are the main essence of one particular economist's teachings, or even recognize the picture of an economist. So I gave them a small write-up about Keynes, and here is what they brought out afterwards. Of course, we discussed these things in class, and you can notice that, the trade cycles, which is part of Keynesian ideas, that has been brought out over there, like his own, his own life cycle has been brought out over there. And in this end, the conclusion, government has a role to play even in capitalist economies. In one line, they have summarized everything that Keynes teaches. So that's the macroeconomics course. And here is another very interesting course called as Introduction to Ethnography. So the previous speaker spoke about the difference between sociology and anthropology. This would be in an area closer to anthropology. And so the faculty here takes the students on a field visit. And the field visit was to a neighborhood called as Malleshwaram. And Malleshwaram Hogona means let's go to Malleshwaram in Kannada. So the students were asked to make a diary and, a reflective journal. Everybody's been talking about reflection as part of liberal arts. So these are some of the reflective journals. So the one on that side, The one on top is a picture of Malleshwaram, which is now very clean, and apparently the community is responsible for this clean area. But at one time, there were a lot of fecal matter festered in that area, and that's why there's another student who's written a poem. And incidentally, when I was speaking with during lunch with one of our colleagues here, I was saying that we have a lot of students from foundation, places. And it's one of them, that is Ravish, who's written that from hell to Heinz and from shit to the finest. I'm sorry for using unparliamentary language here, but I'm just trying to tell you that's how open we allow our students to think. And that's why I was very happy to hear Rebecca speak, openly to her principal. And like one of the faculty, one of the resource persons said, such people are definitely the best people to come for liberal arts programs. On this side, the student then, felt that she can make an app and digitize the content for a culture walk in Malleshwaram. So she's made this as of now in her notebook, and she's already in the process of making this particular thing and she's numbered these spots, and she will be creating the entire thing. So I just thought it's really, really interesting concept. So these are two more courses, both coincidentally taught by the same faculty in 2 different semesters. Of course, it's co-taught by other faculty, but this particular faculty, she's trained in this Leacock Pedagogy at the London International School for Performing Arts. So Chetna, who was here some time back, she asked all of us to explain in a non-verbal way how we are feeling today, right? So this is based on that. But again, to respond to the point that I made right in the beginning, that it's not elitist. So we do have lots of students who are not able to speak fluently in English, and or even if they do, their accents are very different. So they may feel a little, uncomfortable. And in order to overcome this, Spatika, that is the faculty there, uses this method where it's a non-verbal way of communication. So the whole thing of speaking, you first start off with this non-verbal way, so you become confident, and then it doesn't matter that whether your accent is not so good or your language is not so good. So that is what she has been trying to do. In the other one, it's a role play method. I'm certain that this is used in lots of business schools, but this is the Thomas Kilman conflict model, where again the faculty gives them some kind of a conflict situation, and through the role play method, the students have to come up with a solution to the whole thing. Then there is this course called as, there are 2 courses. One is epistemology and critical thinking. So epistemology is the prerequisite, that's right. It's the prerequisite for the critical thinking course. So what the students are doing over here is that they are writing different, for the same word, different words in different languages, or maybe phrases which mean the same thing in different languages. Now, while you may think that why are we doing such silly things in the university, the idea is that the student gets to understand the social, cultural, geographical perspective of that word maybe. For example, my colleague told me that in Khasi, there are 10 different words which mean walking, possibly because the terrain there requires you to walk a lot, right? So therefore, now, how is this going to be used in the critical thinking class? So when you do an economic policy or a political strategy, you must understand that you can't be siloed in your way of thinking. It has to come from different ways. I remember this morning Mr. Jacob speaking about the multidisciplinary method of teaching. So it's a multidisciplinary method of thinking also. So you can't look at an issue from only one angle, you have to look at it from different angles. And the same idea is carried forward in this introduction to writing course. I'm sorry I didn't have a better picture than this. This also was created by my students, but we couldn't get an actual picture in the class, and so I substituted it with this. It looks a little garish, maybe like that picture of mine, which you all saw a little while ago, so it at least matches with something that I have done. So this introduction to writing course, the students start with the self, because generally it is the self who you know best, and then they are told that again you don't exist in a silo, but you have like the home, the society, the globe, and it's like really beautiful how students have come up with essays about themselves. I had thought that I would be using my laptop and I could have opened that, but I will not be able to because it's on my drive. And so that Nathan is a student of ours who is who has a Korean mother and an Indian father. So he said initially he was not comfortable either in Korea nor in India because he is not as, his features definitely look Korean, but the color of his skin doesn't match. And so he was very awkward in both places. But over a period of time, because of the manner in which his family, helped him out, that's why he wrote that particular essay about his parents, and what they mean to him. That's the title of that essay. So they start off with that, and then they go to another course called as academic writing. But given the time, I thought that I would skip that. This is another course which is called as Introduction to Psychology. Like I mentioned, most of these courses are what almost all students choose and do. So while teaching this particular course, Setu, who is the faculty, Dr. Setu, she thought of using the Navarasas, and then another faculty thought that she can join in and co-teach that particular topic and use the sculpt your partner. So like the previous speaker said, that, based on maybe your cultural backgrounds or the corporate culture, they are not prepared for women who come out of these new age universities or new age homes, who will question authority, who will not like to just accept whatever has been given to them. So here also we try to sensitize the students, whatever be the background that they come from, that okay, so apparently in this picture, the boy was told to sculpt the girl for anger. And you can see that she's looking quite subdued. So he was asked that, why can't the girl look very angry, like, that kind? So he said, but that's not how women normally react. So it's because of these stereotypes that's what comes out over there. And we're trying to sensitize the students that anger is an emotion. It's not, gender specific. You can be a boy who will get angry, or you can be a woman, a girl who can get angry. So that's something. And so they came up with an article in Teacher Plus, which is a publication of Azim Premji University. And that's the title of the article, and that's why I just put it up there. And finally, this is another course that I have been teaching myself, and that's called Globalization, Economic and Social Perspectives. Again, it's a first-year course, and during the course of their first year, they do another course from the School of Data Sciences called as Visualizing Data and Storytelling. So I attended a few of those classes, and I thought that let me give them a research paper. And the research paper was Industrial Revolution was the force behind new imperialism. So I said that read this paper and try and come up with, what it depicts in some in some pictorial manner. And then they showed that in 1800, see the extent of colonialism, while by 1914, because of industrialization, there was so much more amount of colonialism. And here down is, they are probably images from the internet. I'm not saying that they have created these, but what I'm trying to tell you is that they have been able to depict whatever was in the article. Here they talk about the trade routes and the goods that were being traded among the various countries. So that's that. And in conclusion, I'd just like to say whatever was written in that definition of what is liberal arts, that, it is it would be, curating the content, the pedagogy, assessment modes, help foster in the students the desire to think and the capacity to learn, communicate proficiently, and, prepare them as engaged citizens. So that's the objective that we at Vidyashilp University are trying to get. And that's a picture of our campus. I would like to welcome whoever would like to visit here. And thank you so much for inviting us. On behalf of my colleague Nitya and me, I'd like to say thank you once more for everything.